think we are good. So, hello. We spoke earlier, but nice to meet you guys again. So my name is Milo, and this is going to be a bit of a overview of consciously creating your life. So it'll be about 30 minutes, depending on how much I waffle on a little bit. But yeah, it's just to give you guys a new perspective on, living consciously, what's going on in the world right now, and then to leave you guys with some like practical steps so you can leave here, or if you know anyone, you can suggest that to them just to get them out of that immediate sort of crisis point. Okay. So basically, we are always creating, whether we like it or not. We're creating, but often we're creating unconsciously. So I don't know if you can see this stuff here, but like I said, I'm going to be going through this, and I'm going to just switch and the extra slides there. But yeah, we're always creating, but we're creating unconsciously, and that's why we've got things like our, your wars, you've got your relationship problems, addictions, things like that, because we're just doing it without thinking. From a young age, we've been perhaps traumatized, fed the wrong information by the wrong people, and we're just playing out this pattern, and it's just on repeat, on repeat. So the goal is, we almost want to like clean the slate, put in those new patterns. So then we're creating from a place of awareness, from a place of presence, and creating new patterns for the future generations. Okay, so that's what we're going to go into. But first, a bit about me. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I had my own sort of, you could call it a life crisis, but it turned out to be one of the best things that could happen to me. So at the time, there's, let's say, an individual to do with the narcissistic spectrum, let's say. And what this did was actually it reflected back to me the things that needed working within myself. So all the things like the people pleasing tendencies, not being able to set boundaries, and my old like childhood patterns, it literally brought them all to surface, which seemed like a chaos at the time. You're freaking out. Oh, what if this happens? What if they spread this about me? What if I lose my job? All your mind's spiraling. All this kind of stuff's kicking off. But like I said, it was an awareness process to bring me back to alignment. So that's what we're going to get into in a second. So I'll talk a little bit about the problem itself, and then we're going to go into what I call like the 4 stages which people go through in a crisis. And then like I said, I'll give you some practical steps at the end just to get you going, or whoever you know to get going. Okay. So the biggest realization for me was this bit here. My handwriting's awful. Hope you can read that. But basically, all problems are in the mind. So it's the mind freaking out about the problem that is the issue, not the issue itself. So a good example of people they're having, I don't know, losing their job. It's not the fact you're losing your job, it's the fact you're in your mind, you're going, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. Oh, how am I going to pay for rent? Oh, like, what am I going to do? My kids need me, my wife needs me, my husband needs me. So it's the mind that's freaking out, which is preventing you from, taking the next step, taking the next actions. And when the mind freaks out, the body, the heart starts pumping. You've got this mental fog, maybe, at least all kinds of physiological problems as well. So what I do and what I realized was, if I can calm the mind, the rest of it just is. So losing my job, okay. If I can just be in that present state, I can take the next steps from here rather than freaking out. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, like running around in a fire. We put out the fire first, and then we can rebuild the building, so to speak. So as I said, the resolving it it's in 4 stages, but it begins by going inwards first. And I'll get on to phase 1 first, next, sorry. But the whole point of a crisis, in summary of this first section, is to point you inwards to resolve the internal stuff first. Because our external world is just reflecting what's going on internally, even though we may not think it at the time. But we often go like, this person did that, this person did that. When really it's like, what am I doing first to be in this position for that person to reflect back to me a part of myself? So it's all a reflection. If we don't like someone, it's because there's a part of us that they're reflecting back to us that's going, I don't like that, but you're showing me a part of myself. So it's this one big weird like mirror reflection game that we're playing here, which is it's very interesting. Does that make sense so far? Is that yeah? Okay, so phase 1 is the I hope you can hear me, there's a bit of noise in the background, but phase 1 is the reset stage, and this is the bit I call the awareness phase. So from my perspective now, having gone through the stuff, I see a crisis is like a catalyst for change. It's like a wake-up call. But we often don't see that because I mentioned the mind is freaking out and everyone's running around going, oh, this is awful, this is awful. I'm not saying the physical stuff is not awful, it is, but it's showing you where there's the opportunity for change. So, as I say, it wants to get you back in alignment. Like if this is the center point and we've gone all the way out here, it's just going come back onto your path so you can get back onto what is in alignment, what is destined for you. So that's all it's doing. But often we'll go a little bit off the path. For example, you take the wrong route when you're driving. If you get straight back on the right road, you're back on track, you're going to your destination. But we take the wrong left turning, let's say, and then we take another wrong left turn, another left turn, and before you know it, you're so far lost that you need something big just to swing you back into alignment. You know that song "Wrecking Ball" by Miley Cyrus? It's literally that, just swinging you back to that middle point. But initially, you're going to swing. You're going to keep swinging left to right until you get into the middle. Okay. And a good example of this is in relationships. So a crisis doesn't just happen. You don't just have out of nowhere, there's a massive breakup or something like that. So an example of relationship, because life is based on our relationships. You meet someone, you go on a date with them, get a gut feeling, you go, I don't know, something seems a little bit off here. So that's almost life talking to you. It's like, okay, just a little whisper, maybe this person isn't in alignment with you. But I should add as well, just a little side note, you do need to be in tune with yourself to pick up on these subtle hints. Because often if our mind's freaking out, we say, oh, this is my intuition. But often it's just like past memories, past traumas that's kicking in. So if you're really in tune, you can pick up on a little hint and go, hang on a minute, something's off here. You don't listen to that subtle hint. Next step, okay, you see them, you see them text discreetly, acting a little bit shady. You go, oh, it still seems a little bit off. That's just life giving you a little push again. Something's off. No, I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it again. So life goes, okay, I need to give you a bit of a slap in the face. Maybe you see this person. It could be a guy or girl, whatever your interests are. You see them chatting to another person out, flirting with them. Life's going, come on, I'm showing you here, showing you something's happening. You're still not listening to me. Okay, what's the next step? Next, you see them physically cheating on you, kissing someone, making out with someone, whatever they're doing. Life's going, come on, you still going to listen? And if you still ignore it, you go, you know what? It was a one-off. They didn't know. I'll let them off. Then something drastic could happen. I don't know. They steal all your money. They wreck your house. They do something chaotic just for literally life to punch you in the face and go, this person's not for you. Wake up, move away from this situation, learn what you need to learn, and leave the position, leave that person, whatever it needs to be. So it applies to everything. It's not just relationships. It could be for work, literally any area of life, but it builds up like that. Little whisper, little nudge, slap, physical punch until everything's in chaos. And when you're in that chaotic situation, I don't know if anyone's been in a relationship like that or whatever, but that's when you're, oh, this was so bad. How did this person do this to me? It's not that they did it to you. It's just there was a build-up that you didn't pick on. So it's little. It's magnified to the point where you're like, oh my God, it's chaos. So that's the first phase, the awareness. Is that all good? Do you have any questions based off that? It's all good? Okay. And then we go on to, I'm going to have just a quick sip of coffee. Feel free to have some water as well if you want, by the way. But hello. Yeah, feel free to sit down. We've just spoken a little about introduction and a bit of a reset phase. This is being recorded, so I can send you the recording after, so you can catch up on it after. Okay, but we're just in the phase two of I guess what you could call it a crisis. We go for a reset where it all comes to awareness. Now we're in a rebuild, which is the healing phase. That's what I'm going to get into now. So feel free to sit down and yeah, you'll just have to catch up on the recording. Okay. Anyway, so phase two. This is the rebuild, which I call, and this is the healing phase. Okay, so phase one, we've had the crisis come up to your awareness, you're freaking out, all your traumas have surfaced, you're like, oh my God, what do I do? Phase two is now like, imagine you've just been in a war zone. That's the best way I call it, because you're in a mental war zone, basically. What we do, move out of that situation. This is where you're going to be in a bit of isolation. So for myself, when all that crisis kicked up, life actually moved me into a position of isolation for a good 1 to 2 years where I'm working on those, I guess, those traumas, those fears that had all come up. So you're going to think, oh, this is not normal. Like people are leaving me, I'm losing my job, and now I'm just completely alone. That's a good thing. When you're alone is when you face those things, because now it's quite easy to be distracted. You know, you can go out with your friends, you hang out, you're not dealing with the root. You go, you know, maybe like beers, your wines, whatever you like. Once again, distract you from the root that's come up to be surfaced. And same like even drinking, going out for coffees, whatever it may be, we all just find a way to distract ourselves. So life will almost move you into isolation, but see that as a blessing, not as a curse. Because life wants you to go like, you've got this problem, you've not faced it for years and years and years, which is why the crisis happened. Now I want you to resolve that so you can be in a clean slate and start creating a bit more consciously and with more awareness. So that is the rebuild, the healing. I will add as well, to do the healing, you need to go into it. Like you can't say, I'm going to heal, and watch a load of YouTube videos and whatever. You need to, something called gradual exposure therapy. And it's obviously way more in depth, but the point is you gradually go into it a little bit at a time. So if you've got a trauma, a fear, you face it tiny bit. Oh my God, it's too much, it's too much, it's too much. Come out. Go back into it. Oh my God, it's too much. Then you come back out. So the overall concept of it is you gradually expose yourself to that thing until that emotional charge is gone. Because really, it's just the emotional charge that is keeping us stuck in the fear, in the trauma. Once the charge is gone, you're just seeing it, okay? So, like public speaking, for example, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, terrible fear. I would get anxiety, mouth would dry up. Oh my God, I can't do this. Now that charge is gone, you know, doing it over and over and over and over again, I can just turn up. Yeah, cool, you might still get nervous, but I'm just seeing that emotion just there. I'm like, cool, put that aside. Now I can do it. So it's not cluttering my mind. There's no more emotion around it. And even if there is, you can better deal with it because you can just deep breath and then you're in control of your emotions, not the other way around. What's that, sorry? It takes a long time. It's not, like I say, you need to dedicate a large part of your life towards it, almost like you would for, you know, turn up to a flight. You need to be like, this time I'm doing this inner work. But a lot of people, you know, you've got other commitments, which is fair enough. Like you've got your families, you know, jobs. But like I said, fortunately for me, it was during actually COVID time. So my job was like, okay, we're going to all work remote. Cool. And then I was in a bit of isolation because of obviously you can't go out nowhere. So it's like, life was like, cool, here's the opportunity. You're going to face it whether you like it or not. Before I would have distracted myself, go away, book a holiday, just distract my mind, you know. Planes, non-existent. Trains, public transport, non-existent. So life was like, you're not going to go out, you're going to face it. So I was like, okay, cool. So, another sip of coffee. I've heard you meant to have rinse your mouth with water after having a coffee. Apparently, it helps to cleanse the mouth. So that's the fun fact of the day for you guys. Okay. So now, once you've done the healing, you know you've taken your months, your years. It can speed up depending on how intensely you do it as well. It's not going to be in a month, but it could be cut down from say 2 years to a year or 6 months if you've got the right guidance, things like that. Phase three is the reprogram phase, what I call it. So this is where you put in the new engine. So imagine like you've got your car, broken car, you've taken the engine out, you fixed it, or you've got a brand new one. Now you pop in that new engine that's working better. You know, it's gonna, I don't know about cars, but good horsepower, whatever it is, revving it, everything. That's putting that back in the car basically. So you're driving more efficiently and makes this lovely vroom sound, whatever it is. The idea here is you first want to have an idea of what this ideal self is. So you're going to have to set goals based off things that you haven't done before, because everything that we would have done leading up to that point before the crisis is based off old trauma, old teachings, things like that. So like our parents, they love us, they want the best for us, but some of the stuff they've been taught has been a bit filtered through, like I say, their parents' past trauma, their social conditioning. So they've taught that from love, but it's kind of been like filtered along the way. So you've been taught things, how to do it wrong, stuff like that. A good example is in the culture I'm from. It's from Cyprus, North Cyprus, and it's very like you respect your elders, you say hello, whatever. But it's gone too far the other way. So if one of you offered me a piece of cake or something, even if I didn't want the cake, I'd have to say yes, thank you. I love the cake, delicious cake. Even if it was the worst cake in the world, I'd say thank you so much, delicious cake. and I have to force myself because of respect. Now, applying that to other areas of your life, it sort of you're playing the same pattern in those other areas. Maybe you're in a, like, go back to the relationship one again. You perhaps you're not into someone, you don't like them as much. Oh, I like you, thank you very yes, yes, we got on great. I love you so much. When you don't, so it's like I was playing out those patterns in other areas of my life. So once you've done the healing, you've almost reset the body. You become like a baby, a child again. And this phase is where you're introducing the new things. So for me, it was going from people pleaser to that empowered, being able to say no. And initially, it feels uncomfortable to say no, even to something like a glass of water. Would you like a glass of water? No. I'd be like, oh, and you're like, no, no, sure, I'll take it. So you kind of try and creep back to the old ways, but you need to do it more and more. And this bit is key here, this energy plus repetition. So you've got the idea of what you want to do. So you've gone from people pleasing, now I want to be empowered. I want to have boundaries. I want to be, my best self. How to actually ingrain that in you? Energy slash emotion. So first you get the charge. You might visualize it, but then you also repeat it. So you don't just go, would you like a glass of water? No, that's it, done. Okay? Would you like a glass of water? No. Next time you ask me something, I'll be like, no, no. So you keep doing over and over again. First, you try this in isolation still. So in this phase, you're still not fully integrated into the world in an ideal scenario. Obviously, if you still got to go out for work, you still do your duties, your hobbies, whatever. But ideally, you'd be a bit more away from the crowd, so to speak. That's at least that's what I did. I was a bit away from the crowd, practicing it by myself, even just looking in like a camera or something, be like, no, practicing new things. So as weird as it sounds, I was literally so I've done the practice almost away from the crowd. And you need a bit of trust as well, to be fair, because you don't know. It's almost like going back out into the unknown after that, which is phase four, which I call the reintegrate stage and the return to the world. So you've done it in isolation, in an ideal world. You've said you've prepped it, you've got the energy build up, you've visualized it. Now we gradually reintroduce you back into the world, where you go back to friends, you go social events, networking, whatever it is that you do, and you apply that into the world. And see the world as a feedback loop. So you might go out the first time, you're empowered, I'm ready, I'm good. I'm going to say no when someone asks me for a coffee that I don't want. Would you like a coffee? There's your little test. Have you truly integrated it? Or do you still need a bit of work? So if you go, would you like a coffee, for example, and go, yes, sure, I'll take a coffee, even though I didn't want it, you're like, okay, I know I need, don't see it as a failure, see it as, okay, I still have a bit of work to do. So you go back home, you practice again, your energy, repetition, maybe do a bit more educating yourself, and then you go back out into the world again. And you try it again, would you like a coffee? Oh, I don't want a coffee, but no. I'm like, cool, okay. Now you know it's at least you're on the right track. To see the society as your match day practice. You've had your training, you practice your tennis with your coach, you've gone into the world, you're at Wimbledon now. This is it. You play the match. Like I say, if it doesn't go to plan, you go back training and repeat for the next tournament. Okay? Does that make sense? What I've said so far? Okay, so they're the four phases that you go through in a crisis, at least from my experience. So now I'll go into some practical steps, just for some, like if you're going for any immediate stuff, you can, use these as tools to overcome them, or if you know anyone that does, because this stuff takes time. This stuff can take months, years. Yeah, so 100%, 100%. So it's like I say, it's the mind first that we want to focus on, but because you've had many, many years of doing the old stuff, that's why it takes years. So if someone was a baby or like a toddler, this stuff will be done just like that because you're teaching them the new things when they're a clean slate. So we're almost first needing to reverse everything that we learn. So for me, I started about 24, 25 doing this stuff. So I had to unlearn 25 years of stuff. Then I'm a baby. I'm thinking, oh my God, like, who am I now? I don't know anything. So then I became a baby, so to speak. And then I'm learning everything again. So it's taken another 2, 3, 4, 5 years to learn again. Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, just about. I'll have to come right in there, but yeah. And initially, I was completely alone. So that was quite scary for me because I'm thinking I'm all alone. All these thoughts have come to surface. I'm freaking out. But once again, COVID was a bit of a blessing for me in that disguise because the only thing I could do was go out for walks. You can't do anything else. So I was going out for these walks all alone, and it was clearing my head a lot more. And in that silence, which I'll get into in the practical steps actually, was I would have just insights because I've got the clear mind. Boom, insight. Hang on a minute. Was this meant to happen to make me face this problem? So it wasn't me. So I'd have the download or insight, call it, and then from there I would go out and do my own research, like watch YouTube videos, do some courses, things like that. But the first bit was getting in tune with myself and whatever you believe in, universe, God, whatever. I was sort of getting these messages in that silence. So yeah, I'd literally go out for walks 4 or 5 hours, just sit out in nature, like, oh my god, I'm screwed, and then bang, oh my god, like what's happened? It was bizarre. Nice. So yeah, that is one of the things I recommend to a lot of people actually is go out by yourself completely. Like turn your phone off, go into that silence because that is where you'll get that that clear insight into the next steps to take. You're not going to get the end result, but at least the next step to take, and then you get more information. Then the next step to take. So yeah, yeah, I'll just stick this 2 seconds.
I find
Hello.
like very challenging while in the process.
Okay.
Like my nervous system gets
Mm-hmm.
very like angry or anxious,
Uh-huh.
and it's only the thing because it's came with physical symptoms like
Yeah,
be
of course.
angry and things like that. So okay, I want to put boundaries. I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm facing all these things, but then my nervous system is like, fuck, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I only find problems like doing breathing techniques and everything it's works, but then something happens like triggers me
Mm-hmm.
and starts my nervous system. I feel like my nervous system is much more powerful than other people
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes. Maybe it's genetics or something like
Uh-huh.
that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I like want to learn as well tips how to regulate my nervous system to be like a habit in my
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this next bit might actually help with that because
Yeah,
right now what's happened to your mind and body is just in a loop. So
yeah,
you've had like a experience, now your body's just because it's remembered it, it's just going memory, feeling, memory, feeling, memory,
yeah,
feeling. So it's just now in a loop that it's almost to the point like, well, what came first now? Because it's happened on such automatic pattern, so to speak. So you're almost stuck in that pattern.
yeah.
So, but if yeah, I'll go through this stuff. If maybe this will help. If not, we can chat more in depth. But
Okay.
um, brings on greatly to the first point actually. So the practical steps. So the problem one here is the mind freak out, and in your case as well, the body responds. So, like I say, it gets to the point where it happens so like often we don't actually know what's coming first, and because your emotions are consuming you, you're freaking out, and your body's there, like hard breathing, whatever it is, depending on each individual. The problem for that is it's almost like being in the drowning water. So the way to get out of that is that you need a pattern interrupt. The problem, once again, it's all good saying, okay, just take deep breaths. Because the emotion's so charged, the deep breaths is not going to do it because it's a lot weaker. It's almost like if I had the water there, if I poured Coca Cola into that water, the Coca Cola color is so much stronger than that, only a little drop of it is going to overpower it. Whereas a little drop of Coca Cola, if I had like 2 liters of water, then the water would overpower it. So we need a pattern interrupt that is stronger than the previous emotion. And this is where it's subjective. It depends on the individual, but things like cold showers, ice baths, things like that, just to snap you out, something that is so intense that you physically can't think of anything else besides, oh my god, this is freezing, like whatever. So a lot of people do like slapping, things like that. Yeah, it's good. Like it gets the body and everything, vibrates it out of you. But really, it's whatever it is for you that gives you this intense interrupt. So it can be intense exercise, like a HIIT workout, 10, 15 minutes. Um, my preferred one currently is the ice bath or the cold shower stuff because like I say, you're freaking out so much, you can't think of anything else.
Never try it.
I recommend. even if you just stick it like, yeah, it's scary, but I would say it's less scary than those, physical emotions coming up and the mind freaking out. So like I say, it depends on what your preferences are, but anything that's going to snap you out of it. So like I say, cold stuff, slapping, high intense exercise, they're the most common ones, like movement, just any way. There's loads and loads more, but this is more to preference. So the problem too then comes. So now, once you've done the solution from problem one, your mind will feel more calm. You'll be in that peaceful, blissful state. The second part is, well, I don't know how to decode any signs that come to me or any intuitive calls. Like, what do I do? So this is where the silence comes in that I spoke about. Silence and also be open. So you may do your slapping, your cold shower, whatever it is. Mind's calm, lovely. Well, now what? Now I'm just blank. It'll be weird at first because you're used to always thinking. We're addicted to thinking, basically. So going from addicted to thinking to no thought, you're like, well, this is weird. This is so weird. And if you don't know what you're doing at that point, then you go, I need to think. And then you start freaking out again. So it's like, okay, silence, calm, embrace this silence. You could do it 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Ideally, go out in nature or go out by yourself somewhere quiet. And then that's the point where you be open. And when I say be open, I mean be open to whatever comes through. Because you think, I need this message for this specific thing. It's got to go this particular way. No, that's in our old, conscious mind's way of thinking. What, higher power, creator, whatever you want to call it, thinks for us is different to what we think we want for ourselves. So it may be like, I'm in the silence, okay, I'm open to receiving. Next step to take, go to a coffee shop. Coffee shop? What? I don't want to go to a coffee shop. I want to overcome my trauma or overcome my fears. And you think, what the hell's going on here? But like I say, you get fed little breadcrumbs. So you might go to a coffee shop, you bump into someone that's a trauma expert or that's, I don't know, a famous YouTuber or something that gives you information on what to do next. So it's like being open to those little snippets, the little bits of guidance, and then you take the action. Um, you take action one step at a time, then you get still, get present again. The emotions start rising again. You repeat basically a bit until that charge is gone. So initially the charge will go from this. The more you practice your stuff, snapping out of it, getting present, the charge will go duh, 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 until you treat yourself to learn a new pattern of the mind starts drifting away, you're back into center. So think of it like a real life meditation. Right now, the mind drifts away. Someone's someone's not happy there yet. He needs to get back to center, that baby. But the mind often drifts away, and we leave it there to spiral and spiral and spiral. What we want to train our mind to do is get back to center. When it starts drifting away, we train it to come back, like a dog on a leash. Dog tries to run away, come back. Then it starts with a little bit, come back, and then it's trained to not run away while it's on the leash. The last part is we often can get lost on this journey or overwhelmed. Because like I say, there's a lot to take in. I've got to snap out of it. Then I've got to go into the trauma. Then I've got to, repeat this. But what order did I do it in? Is this the right path? What's going on? So really, this is where support comes in from. It can be any of these things here. It can be, find a tribe online. There's plenty of stuff. There's like Facebook forums or Reddit, things like that. Even if you just go Google it online and just find people that have maybe blogged it or vlogged it. So you don't actually have to be physically speaking to someone. Maybe like, oh, I'm a bit nervous right now. But you can just find people, like I say, that done videos on it, done blogs on it. There's even stuff in, I don't know how much, if there's stuff around this area, but it's particularly in London, there's like communities that gather once every month, once every few weeks, that just have like conscious chats, things like that. So there's that option. There's obviously find like a coach, a teacher, or someone like that, just someone that can guide you along the process. There's also the point of education, which is key. It's all good doing this stuff, but you also need to do a lot of the work yourself. You need to be educating yourself, read up on things, like I say, watch videos, do some courses if needs be, just so you know what's going on, rather than you like blindly going into like a dark room, not knowing what's going on. So the most important bit as well, because there's a lot of garbage out there, a lot of extreme stuff like you see on social media, news, whatever. These people coming out with really extreme things. I recently heard a study or someone on YouTube saying like the new norm is like eating lots and lots of sugar, the processed sugars, the refined sugars. So that's one extreme. But remember, like that is it's catching headlines. They probably make money from it. Then you'll get the other extreme: never eat sugar again in your life. You're gonna die if you even sniff a bit of sugar. Like go near it. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Um, Look at one extreme and go, okay, if this is really extreme, it's making headlines. There's going to be a polar opposite, and just try and find that middle point. So let's use the sugar case. Eating sugar is not going to kill me if I have it in moderation. Never eating sugar again is just not realistic. Sugar's in most places, and you want to enjoy life. You want a bit of cake every now and then. You guys love cake? I love cake. So it's like somewhere in the middle. If I have cake once a week, twice a week, cool. But it doesn't mean I need to go on either extreme. So the truth is somewhere in the middle, and that is often the middle path, as the Buddha would say, is the best routes, and not being attached to either side. Bit of both, meeting that middle point. That's all from me. I guess we'll just open it up. If you've got any questions, or have a little informal chat, and then we're done. Yeah.
So I just realized that maybe I'm confusing the steps. So maybe after doing everything, so my mind goes to okay, make action because you didn't make action before.
Okay.
So that's why I have this kind of problem. So it's instead of that, I have to be on silence and be open before I make the other steps of make action. Because
Uh-huh.
my overthinking wants to make action to resolve the problem.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
that's a thing that I can change. So
yeah.
make
Spot on.
the silence, even if it's uncomfortable, because I say, no, I'm not doing it. I can
Yeah,
be
yeah.
silent. That's the thing that I can work with myself. Yeah.
You've said it spot on, because often we're trying to make the next step when our mind's going. It's like, okay, first calm, and then take the next step. Then the mind's going to pick up again. It's going like, why are you taking this step? You shouldn't be doing this. Just calm again, then the next step. Like I say, because the mind right now is like a really wavy sea where the boat's tilting, all of this kind of stuff. So trying to like get from A to B in that state is just it's not doable. So it might look like you're going backwards initially because you're thinking, well, I'm taking myself out of this. I should be moving. I should go culture, hustle culture. I need to be always going. So you're going to be thinking, this is not right because I'm moving myself out. But longer term, it's going to be more beneficial because you'll have a bit of a foundation and you're taking action from a place of presence, not from a place of like trauma or your old pattern, basically.
Better decisions
Exactly.
thinking better.
Exactly. Because otherwise, you're going to take a decision when your mind's going, but you're repeating the same thing. So you'll make the same decision, the same action, then you're back doing another loop. So you keep looping the same thing. Whereas the goal is you've done a loop, you're like, okay, I've learned from this, break out of that loop, move on to the next stage. Okay, your mind's going to try and loop again, break out of the next loop. So you want to break out of the old loops, the old patterns, basically. But it's going to be difficult because we do one loop, make a mistake, we don't learn from it, then we do another loop, so now you've got two loops. Then you do three, four, five until the loop's so thick and big, you're like, well, this is impossible. I'm drowning. I can't get out. But it's only because we've done so many loops. So the goal is to gradually reduce those loops, which takes time, um, but it is possible because I've done it. So yeah. So any other questions or anything you guys want to talk about? Or?
It was really organized, so I like it how you made all in steps.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Perfect.
maybe I know all the steps, the information, but I don't know how to organize them. So
Yeah.
that helps a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Guess that comes to that point three boy. So you get lost. There's this, that, this. Like everyone's telling you one thing. So
Like everything, but when they are organized, I can organize my mind as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
yeah. And like I said, this is hello to my future self. This is being recorded, so I'll contact the. Was it Claire that emailed you guys? Yeah, so I'll contact Claire. I'll probably within the next week or so, I'll upload it, put any extra points that may be relevant, and then you guys can watch it at your own, whenever you wish to do it again, basically.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. That's a good point you made. Actually, I should add this in because when you're doing this stuff, you're becoming a new person in the long run. And the people that knew you before, especially when you're in the initial stages, because it's not you're not quite that new self, but you're not that old self either. So people are going to say like, this person's changing. Like, used to always he or she always used to say yes to the cake. Now they don't say yes. So they're going to try really hard to bring you back, like really hard. Exactly. So I think that's why the isolation is best in some of the phases because you're doing it away till it's conditioned in you. You've got the foundation. But when you go out, it's there within you. But I'd recommend doing it gradually because you're going to overwhelm the people around you. If it was, you went from really chronic people pleaser to now you're like, no, I've got boundaries. I don't care. I do what I want. They're going to be like, what's going on? But just be aware, your old friends, your old people, they're going to see this change happening. It's going to make them uncomfortable because they don't want to lose the person that they knew. But you've got to reframe your mind to think long term, this is benefiting me and it's going to help them because I'm helping them break out of their patterns, their cycles. So thinking of it long term, it's better, but short term might be a bit painful.
I've never suffered with no. Panic attacks, I never, but this last year
Sure.
and I'm thinking, well, where does it always come from?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I doing this now? And I found it very, I didn't find it difficult, but because I'm on treatment, get care, but there
Yeah.
are times when I think, oh my God, lose heart here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just have a sip of water 1 second. If I just had a panic attack then after that question, would you imagine? But yeah, often goes back to what I said earlier, because we've got our busy lives, things like that. The stuff gets pushed so far down that we don't realize it's a thing. So it could have been, for example, years and years of build up that's only just coming to surface now. Because let's say you've got work, let's say kids, family, whatever else people do. Because our mind's always thinking, we don't notice it. So it gets initially it's there, ready to be healed, ready to be purged. You go, okay, I'll go out, have drinks with my friends, let's say, gets pushed down again because the feeling will be there. Like the body's always speaking, but where we're doing, let's say I have a pint of beer, when I've got that feeling, because it's numbed it, just goes lower down, lower down, lower down. But like a volcano, at some point it's going to erupt. It's just if you want to deal with it now or 5, 10, 15 years down the line. But the earlier you deal with it, the easier it is. The further down, if it's like 10, 20 years of build up, it's going to hurt initially, but it's just like cutting out a big, infection on your arm. So once you've cut that out, it's a bit of pain, but then you can heal it and work from it that way, basically. So yeah, it's a long path, but it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's another good thing you've touched on there. Sometimes we think, oh, I've gone into the fear, the emotion. Oh, it's disappeared now. It's gone. Perfect. But often it's just surface has come off, and then a bit more will purge up. Like this is not a nice analogy, but imagine like a spot, a pus spot. You squeeze a bit out, it comes out. Okay, it's done. But no, there's still a load of pus in it. So that's why I say the gradual exposure stuff. You squeeze a bit, it hurts too much, hurts too much. Let's go out, go out. I still have work to do. A lot of people there will squeeze a bit. They go, oh, it's better now. Cool, I can go, do the same thing again. But you squeeze a bit, do what you want for a bit, just to calm the mind, not get overwhelmed. But then you go back into it. Squeeze a bit more. Go out, go out, go out. Go chill for a bit. Do whatever you do, then go back in. So it's like an ongoing process until it's all purged out. But once those habits are built in, the new ones, it will just be on loop. So like brushing your teeth, no one enjoys brushing their teeth, but you just do it. So the goal is to get to the point where you just wake up, brush, yeah, done. Um, yeah, it takes time, but it's possible. And don't think I have to get the perfect clean slate. Just do what you can, the best you can, and also don't have expectation of outcome. Don't think I have to do this by this day. Has anyone heard of Bashar? So he's this channeler guy. Yeah, you heard of him. Okay, I'll say there's a quote that he says. He's like says like follow your highest excitement at every given opportunity to the best of your outcome with no expectation of outcome. I've said that a little bit wrong, but basically keep following your highest excitement with no expectation to the best you can each time. So if you're doing this work, obviously it may not be like I'm dead excited, but do it. Don't have expectations to be 100% until you can't do it no more, and then you step out and do something else, basically. But I'd recommend looking at Bashar because he's got some useful stuff. You already seen him, so yeah. Yeah.
No, he has a lot of videos on YouTube and on Facebook and
Mhm.
I can give it to you.
Yeah, he's like a channeler. So I don't know if you guys believe in that, but he does extraterrestrial channeling. And he just conveys the message out to the public, basically. So yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about, or? Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah. So like I said, they'll get hopefully Claire can get the recording out whenever I send it. It should be like a week or so. Any other information, I'll just put it at the bottom. Yes.
Are there specific books you would recommend or I don't know?
There is one off the top of my mind. There's a book called The Body Keeps Score.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that.
You heard that, yeah. I can't remember who the author is, but that's quite a good one for dealing with those emotions, those traumas. What I could do, I could see of any other books and just put it in the description bit in the video when I upload it. Yeah. 'Cause there's loads of books to be honest with you, but yeah. So I'll think of like maybe 5 to 10 that would be useful and add that in.
So what percentage of people do suffer with
Suffer from what? So,
anxiety?
to be honest, it's hard to put a number on it because some people, yeah, exactly. How are you? I'm fine. Yes, you can be like if you were present enough, you can kind of see subtly if someone's anxious or not with it. But often we're so distracted that we can't tell. I mean, at some point, because it's a natural human emotion, we all have some form of anxiety. It's just who can regulate it better and who can deal with it. Like, for example, coming up to here, normally I'm fine, but sometimes I might get a bit of nerves. But yeah, you might feel it. But now, because I've done it a lot and I know how my mind works, I know like my mind's gonna play tricks on me. So I'm like, okay, I know my mind's freaking out. Cold shower one's a good example as well. Like before going into that cold shower, my mind's like, no, 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 no. I've done it for like the past week every day in a row, but my mind still goes, no, 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 this is not really not good. But I'm like, okay, I can see the mind freaking out, so I can deal with it better. And the second I step in, oh, so I'm used to dealing with it. So it's just when you're not used to dealing with it, that's when the problem occurs. But yeah, anxiety is a normal emotion. So we don't want to resist it. We want to embrace it, feel it fully, and then be present in while it's all kicking off, and then you can still take action. That's the goal.
So is the body reacting to how what's going on in your mind?
Yeah. So initially, what will happen? This will be when we're like kids. Let's say it could be something very small. Your mother goes to you, "Don't eat that sweet." Little thing like that that you wouldn't think nothing of. You think, "Oh, my mum's just looking out for me, whatever." That builds like a little tiny little blockage. It's so small. It's barely energetic blockage. So we don't see it as well. That's the worst thing. Um, it's so small, but your body and your mind remembers it. So you're essentially playing out life with that little tiny mother shouting at me, and that's where it magnifies. So your body's reacting to that tiny seed that was planted 20, 30, 40, however many years ago. Because as a kid, you don't know how to resolve that. You don't know what's going on. So your whole life is dictated around my mother's going to shout at me if I eat a sweet or if I do something wrong. But you apply that filter to all areas of life. So it's like if I had pink shade of glasses on, everything I see is going to be in pink now. Even though we both know this wall is white, your t-shirt's white, whatever, but I'm going to only see it as pink because I've only ever had pink glasses on. So the goal we want is to have the clear glasses so I can see all the colors, all this kind of stuff, and then I can see reality for what it is, not for what that filter is. But yeah, unfortunately, it starts majority from childhood, 0 to 7 years, they say roughly. But yeah, so that's why I think it's important for us to do this work now to clean our slate. So when we're educating the upcoming kids, the upcoming youth, they're being consciously taught how to deal with their bodies, their minds, things like that. So it doesn't keep getting passed down, basically. So we're like blocking off the past trauma because a lot of our parents, grandparents, they've been in wars, things like that. So imagine that trauma being passed down, and you're living like in a warlike mindset. In well, we're not in a war here physically now, but we're living as if we are. Yeah, in a weird way, it's like ancestral trauma from generations, generate. Like, it could be like 7 generations ago. Could be like yeah, 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 genetics. So we're trying to
I
rewire.
mean the epigenetics say what it's really happened in science.
Uh huh.
So
Yeah.
epigenetic can explain these kind of things, like how they studied everything scientifically, not energetic. I know that I
Mhm.
understand the point of energetic, but if you want that scientifically, it's in epigenetics. I'll explain
Of course,
the
yeah,
studies.
yeah, yeah. Like I say, it's combining that
Yeah.
scientific and that sort of more energetic, spiritual side, merging them together, and you realize, hang on a minute, it all makes sense. Yeah. Uh-huh. Because like, in society, we're taught to favor one and not the other. It goes back to the polarities. And what I said, the truth somewhere in the middle. It's not one or the other. We've been taught wrong. Because if a seesaw is too far that way, you're falling off. When you're in the middle, perfect balance. So, like I say, it's not science or spirituality, science and spirituality. Same as anything that you can think of. It's not too much masculine and too much feminine, masculine and feminine. Balance of both. So, exactly, exactly. So, that's what we want. Right bicep bigger than my left bicep, too much. Balance, perfect. So,
When I start working with myself, I start spiritually.
oh yeah.
So it was all spiritually, and then I thought, no, something is not working because I have to work with
Uh huh.
all the blocks that I have with my mind as
For
well.
sure, for
It
sure.
was very helpful, but then it's a point that you can go without seeing all the mind and like doing exercises, eating good. So I thought, okay, this is a holistic view. I can do from one side, like taking magnesium for my nervous system, or no, I have to do breathing techniques to
100%.
train my nervous system. It's not like giving them the solutions, you know. So that works with me to see everything
Mm-hmm.
in the same kind of being, not only one point, you know. It's not like
100%.
yeah,
It's a good point as well because it's like the healing happens in the physical and the, I guess, metaphysical.
yeah,
Like a physical problem, you heal it physically. You've got a problem in your leg, you go to a doctor to heal it. But there's the energetic side. Where did this leg problem occur? Oh, 10 generations ago, my mother had or whoever it was then, had a problem there that's been passed down to me. So it's like combining physical and metaphysical healing together. So you said it spot on, really. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. So it would have unconsciously happened as well. So even something as little as their old eating habits, let's say, when you're a child, you're picking up on everything they do, every movement they do, everything they do. You're just absorbing it all. So not intentionally they've passed down a bad habit or something, but without realizing, you would have observed everything that they did and anything in your surroundings. To be fair, like if you grew up in a bar, let's say, you would have observed everything, and you grew up thinking, "Oh, I love drinking vodkas at the weekend," but you just saw everything in your environment, and you thought this is reality. So you've, like I say, you think this is what life is based off your upbringing, what you've seen. But because it's in our subconscious, we think this is how everything is, when really it's just an old pattern or habit that's been passed down. Yeah. Of course, it does as well. It's not just not everything's come from like your parents or caregivers. Stuff you do in your life too. Maybe in school you got into a fight with a kid. Let's say there's an additional trauma on top of that as well. So it's what your parents passed down, their parents, so forth, and what you've experienced in your life. So yeah, that's why it's like conscious parenting. I think is so crucial for the next generations. But like I said, don't go out and all blame your parents or your friends. Like, you idiot! But yeah, like they didn't do it on purpose. They're doing the best they can. But yeah, so whoever first got traumatized has passed it all down to us, basically.
Like in the end of the world, like I realized that there is nothing to forgive my parents because they were the perfect parents to make the thing that I am in now. So if they were not these parents,